Shanti. Good evening and welcome to Soul to Soul. And this is Rose from Glasgow InnerSpace, and we're going to talk about how to set your alarm for silence. Silence is our greatest power. And the more and more we understand and use our power of silence, the more and more we feel a power inside ourselves. We bring back our strength, our original strength. So we're looking at how to set our timetable for periods of silence, meditation, or even a few seconds, a few minutes throughout the day. So make regular appointments with your own self to have moments of stillness and self-reflection, and develop a habit of observing your thoughts, and do our best to make sure we're calm and steady and stable no matter what. And we can do that. We can do that. And so not to struggle to change others, but keep our thoughts positive. Be cool and peaceful, and then your vibrations will help others. Have good wishes for yourself. Constantly create good feelings about who you are. So who are you? In Raj Yoga we see that we're the energy in the center of the forehead, the point of living life energy, the soul. And whatever we think creates vibrations. Those vibrations touch every cell in the human body. So we can feel how we want to feel if we realize that I just have to have the thoughts. So observe your good qualities. And we all have lots of good qualities, and it's like things will come, uncomfortable things will happen, uncomfortable circumstances and people will come, they have to come, we call them obstacles. But actually, if I begin to see these as a way to see my own strength, faith and dignity, the way I go through those obstacles can be quite remarkable. It can bring back the faith in myself. And what we say is never, ever, when you're practicing this, you're quite a hero actually. So there's a very good chance that whoever you're having an obstacle with is not practicing what you're practicing. So never feel inferior to any situation or person. Don't have arrogance, but have faith in yourself, the wonder of yourself. Yourself is a wonderful energy. And when we practice silence, it puts me in touch with my inner powers and virtues. And I can feel full, and I can remain quite humble. I don't have to be arrogant. I can remain okay about everything. This is my natural nature. I don't have to show it off in any wrong way, me. I can be humble, but I can see my powers and my virtues. And I can also know that I'm using them. So I can be sweet no matter what. Sweet and kind and friendly. And the thing to keep remembering is when I think thoughts like sweet, kind, friendly, whatever thoughts that are very positive, these touch every cell in my body, and at that moment I have the energy to be sweet, kind and friendly. And grumpiness and sadness disappears as long as I'm thinking of these energies. So be careful with our thought energy, because if I start to go down the other track, I'll feel not so good. I have to be careful with how I think. Be silent before you speak or act. This can encourage me to see how I wish to present whatever I'm going to present or speak or say or interact with someone else or a situation. Also, it's time to be economical with thoughts, words, actions and resources. So I don't need to be too extravagant with anything, even with too much laughter, even with too much dancing and be smiling and happy and light-hearted, but I don't need to go to entertain others too much with any of my energies. Just be myself. And if I happen to want silence time, quality silence time, then I need to set my alarm for bright and early in the morning. The morning time is the auspicious time. The early morning hours is called Amrit Vela, or the early morning hours of nectar. It's very beautiful, because in the early morning we're fresh, and usually we don't have situations that have come in front. Sometimes we might, and sometimes we're not so bright and fresh. I have to be quite realistic, but it's a chance for me to see how I'm not so bright and fresh. And it's a chance for me to start looking at maybe what can I do to be more bright and fresh. Because at that time I can decide what thoughts are needed to empower my day. I may have a bit of an idea what's ahead of me in the day. I won't have a total idea because we never know what's going to happen, but I can have an idea that I'm going to go here or do this or meet this person or something's going to happen that day. Or I can just see that I'm not feeling that great, I need to feel better. So I can have an idea, I need to give myself strength and power to go through my day in a way that I wouldn't have any regrets. And the way to do this is through that power of silence, actually. It's a mixture with looking, seeing, understanding, and also going into stillness. Because people have become very complicated. So whoever I meet, there'll be complications, even within my own family. There will be, I would say especially within my own family, there will be complications. I would also say the solution is very simple. So pay attention to set your alarm for silence and create pure and positive thoughts. Because it's our purpose. First we have to serve ourselves, empower ourselves, strengthen ourselves. do our best to understand ourselves, and that energy will actually serve others. Because my responsibility is to myself and to humanity and the whole of the natural world is my responsibility to. Doesn't mean I've got to change it and I take on the burden, but to be kindly and thoughtful and attentive and caring. Really, that's our responsibility. Then we wouldn't have any feeling of regret. I wish I had, why didn't I? So actually it can be very easy to wake up and stay awake and listen to my inner call of silence. So this call of silence, once I start to practice and enjoy stillness inside, I will want to practice more and more. I will be pulled into silence. And I think the time is coming when it's the solution to remain undisturbed by whatever's happening around. Because otherwise we will be pulled into sorrow, sadness. We'll lose our strength, lose our vision, lose our power, forget who we are. So I need to be easy and wake up and stay awake. Find ways to stay awake and listen to my inner call of silence. And for that, usually we would focus on the self as a soul, a point of living life, energy, but we would also remember the divine, the one above. Because that one has all the powers that we have lost. And when I think of that one, it begins to awaken in me. My inner powers is like a seed. When it receives sunshine and water, it starts to grow. And it turns into some beautiful flower or tree or whatever. And the same with the self. When I receive the energy of that connection, my powers and my silence begins to grow. And so the early morning hours are the time for this. It's as if I get the sun, the spiritual sun, and I feel the powers in myself awakening. So, early in the morning, set my alarm. Solution is very, very simple. Create pure and positive thoughts. Okay.
To remain undisturbed. That's a good check. Because even just sitting here, nothing's very peaceful, nothing's happening. But even in such a setting, when I observe, I can see there are many things that are, disturbed is quite a strong word, but it's sometimes good to use strong words because it keeps you alert. But I can see there's maybe pulls from the body or little noises, and this idea to remain undisturbed, that sounds really like it requires a lot of power. Is it actually possible?
I would say it's, if you really wish to do something, anything is possible. Mm-hmm. And once we realise the power of our own energy, we have a lot of power in our energy, and it comes from thoughts. So why? I teach myself, I have to teach myself and let myself see the contrast. That if I'm getting pulled by some trivial thing that's going to worry me, And I don't allow myself to be pulled by that trivial thing, and I stay thinking of something, a good energy pattern, which makes me feel quite buoyant and successful and okay. And I know we all can have pain of the body, we can have all sorts of complications. It's just what's happening at the moment. But I can either go through suffering of the body and sad and all upset, or I can say, like, okay, that's happening, I can't stop that, but at the moment I prefer to think differently. And so for a few minutes I can take myself into a different way of thinking, which is like a relief. So I can do that over and over and over again. I don't have to go down the tiredness or the sadness or the agony, or it will be there, and I can't 100% obliterate it because it's called karma. And so it's going to come and it's going to be settled some way or another, but it's quite a good way to settle it by saying, I'm not going there, I'm going to stay thinking positive thoughts. Does that make sense?
Yes. It seems essential as well, because it's like the disturbances are increasing, and if I don't start practicing being undisturbed, I'll never get on the track. And it's like the world seems to be like very much a disturbed place that pulls us out all the time. Look at me, listen to this,
and it creates fear.
And it does create fear.
And if we can stay within our own understanding of what we're capable of, we don't have to be fearful. So that's quite important. But you see, for this I do have to practice meditation, stillness, get to know myself, get to know my capabilities, and connect and feel so grateful to the one above. Because that's the sunshine that enables my qualities to come to life.
And when you describe it like this, it's absolutely beautiful. It's like something delightful to do.
Yeah.
So it's not a struggle. It's not a drudge. It's something absolutely exquisite that I can go to with my mind.
Yeah.
You spoke about serving the self and serving others, and to feel like it was your purpose. Does that kind of motivate you into remembering?
I think the rule of life, which has got dramatically lost, is that at one point in time we all looked after each other. And we trusted each other, and we had love for each other, and we had communities where we helped each other in every way we could. And I think circumstances of life, the elements and everything, political situations have changed that. And so we're all getting to be not so trusting of each other. We've maybe had disappointments, maybe one person has made me not have faith in everybody else. One difficult situation may have made me so disheartened about trusting anybody. And Raj Yoga saying, these things, time has made this happen, but originally we loved each other. And Raj Yoga says, go back to that. Not stupidly, not blindly, but for your own benefit. Start by feeling love inside yourself for yourself. And then looking out and understanding when others are under a pressure. So not to judge them for the pressure they're under. So to be understanding, to accept, and that way you won't be fearful. Because your energy, you'll be using it in a helpful way. even if you don't get any comeback of something good is happening here, it doesn't matter, you're not looking for that. Okay.
Yeah, just as you're speaking, I'm feeling the importance of feeling sweet, gentle, soft, loving, kind feelings for the self. Because if I can't even have those thoughts for the self, for the soul, I really can't genuinely share them.
That's right.
And so is that the phrase good wishes for yourself? That was a nice phrase at the start. Is that roughly what that means?
Yeah. And Raj Yoga says become, Raja means king or master of the self. So to become a self-sovereign, someone who can, who's in control of their own energy, basically. So as I get to know what is the energy of the self that I have to be in control of, and I begin to see the goodness in the self. When I see the goodness in the self, I know that they're but for fortune. Everyone has that goodness in themselves, but it's not easy to, unless you're doing meditation and practicing stillness, to see it and strengthen it and use it. So the more I do meditation, the more the self is empowered and these good energies are strengthened in the self, and then I know I've got them and I can use them.
Easy.
It is easy, actually. It's called Easy Raj Yoga. But it's this coming away from thinking that the physical is the master and the physical's in charge of everything. It's the soul that becomes the master, and the soul that's in charge of its own energy. Okay? So what we're going to do is have a few minutes of meditation. And we just sit very comfortably, and we focus in the centre of our forehead and keep our eyes open. Om Shanti. I, the soul, I'm a living energy. I'm in the centre of the forehead, and I radiate that energy out into the world. Whatever thoughts I think, if they're weak thoughts, powerful thoughts, happy thoughts, sad thoughts, they radiate out into the world. When I become aware, I don't want to add my energy to the sadness in the world. I want to send out peaceful, loving energy into the world. Every thought that I have, it touches every cell in the physical body. And that is the energy I have to put out into the world. Also for the self. If I have sad energy constantly, I disempower myself more and more and make myself weak. When I concentrate on having powerful, thoughtful, understanding, caring, kindly energy. I empower the self with these energies, and I send those energies out to the souls of the world. I give that power to the souls in the world, so we become like a benevolent source of energy, a giver of goodness, a kindly, loving, thoughtful energy. But it's a silent process, and no one would know that we were bestowing that energy. So there's no ego involved. It becomes a very beautiful and practical way to be. And the bonus of that comes back to us, inasmuch that we become self-empowered, able to create what we wish to create, to strengthen our own energy and share that energy with the world.